Hey, good morning, Ed. How are you doing on this Friday before Halloween?
Hey, great. It's just another rosy day here in Southern California.
Yeah, well, we're expecting snow this weekend, so, it's a typical fall. Well, we're going to get snow on Sunday, and then it'll be like 61 next week. So, welcome to Northeast Ohio. That's what we get.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have fall show up in Southern California, but the last few days it's been 80, and the next couple of days it's going to get back up to 90. So I don't know where fall went. I thought we were going to have it, but and it's a bummer for the kids because with COVID they can't go out trick or treating, and it's warm. They won't have to wear down parkas and all that kind of stuff. Because here in Southern California, when it gets to 60 degrees, we have to put on our down parkas.
Oh, of course. So they're not doing Halloween at all by you?
The way it is around the whole country. From city to city to community, everything's different. There's nothing. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm not even going to be here. I'm going to be in Northern California this weekend. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the candy store yesterday, and my husband actually made up 40 individual little goodie bags with candy in it because he was all excited. He's like, if some kid wants to come out and trick or treat, then we should have candy for them. So, it's his thing. In our city, they're actually allowing the door to door. So I have no idea what to expect. So,
it's interesting because every year, we buy candy, but I always buy my favorite candy because we never have kids. Because our house is up on a hill and it's a god awful long driveway. And so, you think it from the kids' perspective. Is it worth walking up that long driveway for a stinking little piece of candy? No.
Right.
So
Yep, I get it. Well, for years, I tried to stay away from the candy that I love the most because of those reasons. And now I don't care because it's delicious, and I'm going to be eating half of it while we're giving it out anyway. So speaking of spooky, this is kind of a spooky time for associations this year, isn't it? With all the meetings being canceled and people not going if we're live or virtual, and members deciding, am I signing, am I redoing my membership? I mean, what are you seeing?
Well, it's interesting. Let's first talk about meetings and talk about membership. A good number of associations have done a really good job of converting their live meetings to virtual. You can go to my raw and unedited show on YouTube, and I've got a bunch of association executives I've recently interviewed as far as how they've done it. And the fascinating thing is a number of these associations have been very successful in their conversion, and to their credit, they're getting more people signing up virtual than they were for the live only meetings. Now, people aren't paying as much. So the cool thing for a lot of association members where maybe they couldn't get away for 3 or 4 days to go to their annual meeting, they can register for $200, $300, $400, whatever it is, and they can pick and choose. So the meeting thing, there's not quite the engagement level, but the knowledge transfer and the availability for a lot of people that there wasn't the availability. That's awesome. Now, on the membership, what do we see going on? Hey, if you're not engaged in your association and you're looking for an excuse to leave your association, COVID-19 is a wonderful excuse, and people are using it. So, I harp on the associations that focus on being member ROI centric are the ones that are keeping their members. The associations that are just out there, kind of dialing it in. Hey, we have an annual meeting. Hey, we have a magazine every month or a newsletter, whatever the case may be, that really aren't focused on member ROI are having troubles. The other challenge that's going on in the association world, the associations of the 1950s, 95% of their budget in the 1950s was member dues. Today, here we are sitting at the year 2020, and professional societies, the the percentage of their annual budget that comes from dues is only 30%, and trade associations, so most of the people we're talking to today should be trade associations, their annual budget, only 40% comes from dues. So if you're an association executive and you're watching this, you're kind of between a rock and a hard spot. You're figuring, okay, how do I drive more value? And at the same time, how do I make sure that we have enough revenue to keep the lights on, to keep the doors open, to keep the employees employed? And the thing that I would say to that person sitting here, watching, go, every decision that you make, you must use as one of your filters, not the only filter, as one of your filters. How does this affect our ability to recruit members and retain members? Right. And that's becoming a harder challenge. And there's lots of opportunities for non-dues revenue, but you got to be smart about it. I could really get deep into tearing apart a few associations, one that you and I are a member of, that doesn't quite understand the concept of member value and knowledge management, but we won't go down that path.
Well, you know what? And the thing is, it's like, this is the time. A couple things that you said. Number one, the fact that more people are coming to these events, so you can kind of offset that revenue, because you have more people paying less money, and
Sure.
There's a chance of it balancing out. But that super duper member value, because people are they're starting to get used to these online things. But if you put together a program and you're bringing in crappy speakers who are doing death by PowerPoint and not engaging with the audience and all of these horrible things, that you can get away with more live, right? If you're on stage, people kind of can forgive you because you were at the cocktail party with them the night before. But for a live program to sit there, and then expect people to pay for it. So associations have to almost be more conscious of the quality of their presentations, the quality of the technology, who they're bringing on, and conveying that value for the meetings, and then putting in a whole bunch of extra stuff. Maybe that doesn't cost them a lot of money, but that is the members are perceiving as value.
Yeah, I mean, today there's the reality that we call Zoom fatigue, which just means any online fatigue.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're absolutely right about, now we have slide 1, bullet point 1 states. Yeah, I mean, we've all seen these ridiculously terrible presentations. The interesting thing is, I think I run every Tuesday, I run a mastermind of association CEOs. And it's a community that I've built that they pay to be part of, and I'm talking with these people every week about the challenges that they're dealing with, and because it's proprietary, we get into some really deep stuff, and a number of them are struggling, but on the flip side, a number of them have got it wired. The thing that I would throw out for everybody watching this today. One area that I think that a lot of associations are kind of failing to realize the value. Okay, trade associations create a lot of value in helping their members in creating and being part of community. And it's something that right now that's a little bit being overlooked. As an example, you're in a community with me, which is a nonprofit, and we run a Zoom meeting every Wednesday. And sometimes we get into some content, and sometimes we get into some BS. But it's something that the community can come and be part of. Now, I'm not saying that an association has to run an every Wednesday community, but associations need to look at and ask themselves the question: how can we help foster community within our members? Because community is one of the high value propositions of being a member of an association. It's one of the low cost propositions, and it's one of the frequently overlooked areas. That's an area that really associations should be spending as much time as they can asking themselves, How can we foster community?
Well, and actually, I want to just give a huge shout out to you because of that. We started this Wednesday group because we weren't sure if our association, annual conference was going to be live, and then it went virtual, and we just kind of started meeting, talking about. It was all about the conference, and everybody just kind of thought, well, after the conference, we'll just go back to our own little lives, and we won't meet anymore. But such a community has been built over the last couple of months that it's like our convention came and went, and we still continue to meet. And, I know that Ed puts a lot of time into it as far as just kind of thinking what the conversation's going to be, but it's on Zoom, so it's not costing you a lot of money. And when you look at, what we're doing as a group, even though there was no income because we didn't have our big party this year and we didn't have what we normally have at the convention, but just keeping that community together, you're setting such a great example for the people that you're working with, and just doing that consistently. You mark it on the calendar, Wednesday at noon your time, 3:00 my time on the East Coast. I know where I'm going to be. And that's with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. And that just, emphasizes the point that, it's not that hard to do this stuff. And it's just making the commitment and here's the challenge. And I don't want to badmouth association people, but too frequently the association CEO, okay, whatever the chief staff executive title is, CEO, executive director, too often he or she abdicates responsibility for membership, and they say, well, no, it's the director of membership's job. Mm-hmm. No, it isn't. Membership has to start at the top, the CEO level of the association, or the executive director, whichever the case may be, and it has to filter through the entire organization. And quite frankly, if an association CEO is going, well, I'm going to let membership department worry about creating community, no.
Right.
No, it's your job. And it's not that hard for you, Mr. or Ms. or Mrs. Association CEO, to do a weekly call, and it doesn't have to be an hour. It could be a half hour.
Right,
and
exactly.
If only 10 people show up on the call, so what? You just spent a half hour with 10 of your members. My God. I mean, and the thing is, these calls, some people are going to come. Next time, other people are going to come. It's a mishmash, which is totally fine. But I don't want to tell association execs how to run their show. What I do want to do is get association execs to think about, how can we foster community during this time of COVID?
Yep. Well, and I tell you, and Ed's got so much more coming up in his interview on the Employee Retention Summit, which is just over a week away. It's November 9th to the 11th. And one of the ways that we've been working with associations, because we have several association partners that are sharing this free conference, this free virtual event with their members. And what they're getting as a result out of it is the opportunity to generate some of that non-dues revenue. And they're being notated on the resource page on the website. All of this at no cost, because we understand what associations are going through. Associations are struggling. So providing that extra value, providing that resource, hearing from experts like Ed, who I brought in specifically to help association executives to boost their members, to provide value. And then you have 24 other experts who are here to teach your association members how to keep their top talent from becoming someone else's. So make sure you get your ticket today. I'm going to have the link below, and Ed will be here. I'm just really excited to share him and his expertise with the world. So Ed, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Happy to join in.